What is going on? This is Cody, and I'm broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios here on B-Boy 45. I've got another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, what is special about your show today?
Because Jacob Aaron Estes is calling in.
Jacob Aaron Estes, woo! How are you, and welcome.
Hi, everybody. Apologies for helicopters flying overhead. I live
No, that's perfect.
Area.
Are you in sunny California?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles.
Beautiful.
In Echo Park.
Beautiful. Well, Maya, take it away, girl.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I know I already said this, but I'm so excited to be talking to you. And so my first question is, when did you first know that you wanted to write as a profession?
As a profession? Well, as a profession, that required some kind of confidence and track record that I could possibly do it as a profession. So I started writing really early. I think as a kid, I wrote a lot of poetry. I wrote a lot of doodles on the back of my book, and I did a lot of painting and photography, and I thought I could be an artist. And there was some precedent for that in my family. My mom is a painter, my grandmother was a painter and a sculptor. And so it wasn't something that only crazy people did in my family. It was something that my maternal parent and grandparent did. And then in college, I wrote some plays and made some short films. And the plays were particularly well received by the college community. And I started to think maybe I was pretty good at it, and just kept writing. And after college, kept studying. I enrolled in a playwriting class even while I was working kind of menial job as doing labor for a catering company and a lighting design company that did parties, and I made short films with my spare money, and eventually wrote this screenplay called Mean Creek. And Mean Creek had a lot of people were interested in that script when I started to show it to people, and eventually that would become my first film. And it wasn't until after I made a movie that I realized I could be a professional.
Cool. So do you have a ritual or a process before you start writing?
Over the year, I'm 48 years old, and so over the years, the ritual and process has changed. Because when I was 19, I would like to stay up all night and write, and then go to college during the day. But then these days I have 2 kids, so I can't stay up all night and write and still be a functioning parent during the day. So generally I wake up pretty early. I have a coffee. During quarantine, I've been on a green juice fast. So I walk down to the juice store. Here, I'll show you one of the juices, one of these delicious juices. And I get 6 of those things and drink one, and then have some coffee and sit at my computer and just start working. It's just about rhythm, about staying in a rhythm and never stopping even when you're uninspired or have nothing to say, just work.
Yeah, I was wondering what you've worked on a lot of like thrillers and horror movies. What attracts you to the thriller and horror genre?
I've actually done much more work in like the sort of drama, human realm. It's just that the thriller and the horror stuff is stuff that you can have a career at more easily because people like to make those movies. But I am interested in them. I'm particularly interested in the good ones. And I mean, I think that I think that horror allows us to kind of talk about our deep anxieties and our deep fears without actually having to experience them. It's like as anxiety and fear in our daily life, it's like an outlet for that stuff to come out, and it's for that reason it's sort of cathartic sometimes to see a good horror movie or a good thriller where there's lots of tension building up, and you feel that tension, because it's in you, not because it's a well-made movie, but because the well-made movie is tugging at something that's in you already. And so when those movies release tension, they make you feel better afterwards, or can. Sometimes they can just make you horrified afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. So Don't Let Go is one of my favorite thrillers. Do you remember how you came up with the idea?
Yeah, that idea was, I came to it kind of in a complicated way because I had read someone else's script, a guy named Drew Daywalt, and Drew had written this story where an uncle loses his niece and the phone rings and it's his niece. From that point forward in his script, it was a complete horror movie about ghosts and goblins and awful things in the house. And I really wasn't interested in that as a director. And so I passed on the project. But then the producers asked me was there anything I liked about it, that would I want to take it and run with it? And I told them I liked the initial idea of the dead person calling back her beloved uncle, because it filled me with hope.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, okay, well, why don't you work on that? And so I tried to, even though the movie has a very sort of dark current and a very a difficult feeling of grief at its core, I think it's hopeful that we could change things. And that's what attracted me.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I realized, so I watched it a couple months ago with a friend, and then I just watched it a couple weeks ago with my mom and my sister. And there were a couple things that I picked up that I didn't understand or realize the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
So
What? Tell me. I'll drink the green juice and you tell me.
Well, there was when he's when he's injured and he gets taken to the hospital and he's on and you just hear like all these like beeping noises and all of this, and then something in the past changes, and then you just see him, and then it's him sitting in his car. The first time I watched that, I was really confused about it. And so I was like, okay, so we know he ended up being fine. And then my mom was confused about it. And she was like, wait, so what happened? And my sister said the timeline changed. I was like, really? Like, I did not realize that the first time I watched it.
You know, we talked about putting him in the morgue, so you'd have absolutely no question that the timeline changed. But we ran out of money, so we never shot that shot.
So, what is it like to see your words come to life on the screen?
What is it like? You mean in the sense of how an artist feels about having something realized.
Yeah, like just seeing like what you wrote then come to life on the screen.
Well, that's a really complicated. I have a really complicated relationship to that because I write and I direct. So I see the words coming to life in rehearsals, and then I see the words coming to life on set, and then I sit with my editor for, in this case, a year, and we, march through the story and edit it and edit it and edit it until the words seem right. And then by the time we're done, we're sitting in a theater with different groups of people, and I feel differently in different groups of people. When we first tested the movie, we tested it in a theater in the neighborhood where we shot it, which is basically South Central Los Angeles. And that experience was absolutely wonderful. Because people in that theater were like, "That's my neighborhood. Those are my people," and there was like a real deep connection to the material, and there was a lot of women fanning themselves off because they were so tense and screaming, and and so that was fun. And then we took the movie. We recut the movie and we took it to Sundance and showed it to a bunch of film cinemaphiles in Utah, and that was a whole other experience with a different kind of pressure on it. So it's a complicated process of having the movie come to life. But by the time the movie's done, really done, I just wish it would be over, and I'm hoping that I'll ever get to work again.
How involved are you with the casting of your movies? Like, do you write parts with certain people in mind?
Early in my writing, understanding about how to write, a teacher said to me, or a mentor said to me, it's best if you don't imagine an actor and get attached to an actor's voice when you write, but just try to imagine the character that you're thinking of. And not everybody does that, and not everybody believes that. But I've come to believe it because when you start to write for a person's particular cadence, you start to think about their personality as opposed to the personality that you're trying to create. So I try to really remove myself from that process of imagining a certain person there. But then in terms of the actual casting, again, as a director, particularly as a director of movies as opposed to TV, one of your biggest jobs is casting the movie well. In fact, it's maybe the biggest job, because those people are going to be with you every single day for however many months of preparation you might go through to start making the movie, and every day on set, they're your ally. Hopefully, they're the person that you're trusting with to really understand the scenes, and they're trusting you to know what you're talking about when you're directing them. So that process is extremely intimate. It's maybe the most intimate exchange. It can, for some directors and some actors, maybe they don't feel this way, but for me, it's the most intimate part of the process. We have to really understand each other and trust each other in order to create a feeling of reality together.
Oh, cool. Do you have any upcoming projects?
Well, COVID has sort of shut down the film business by and large. I read a statistic that 98% of Los Angeles productions have been shut down. And so in general, I usually have, there's a hawk. Oh, never mind. A hawk just flew up onto my deck. Just right there. I wanted to kill it and show you, but then it was gone. And so what I've done is I started to improvise a movie with my iPhone here at my house, starring my kids. And at first I wasn't all that serious about it. We were just sort of laughing about it. Then I realized my kids were really good actors. I'm a pretty good judge of child actors, as you saw. I cast Storm Reed in Don't Let Go, but I also cast all the kids in Mean Creek, and they ended up winning a big award, an Independent Spirit Award, for an ensemble cast. They liked those kids so much that they created that award for those kids, as far as I know. And so I started watching my kids in these scenes we were improvising, and I started to think they're really good. But are you just delusional? Is it just you just like your kids? And then I started to show some scenes to some friends, and they were like, no, they're really good. So I got kind of serious about it, and I really focused in on the script and wrote a whole script. And we've completed all of the photography, and I'm editing here at home. So we'll see. Either I'm calling it the Home Demon movie. Either it's a really good movie, or I'm just delusional, which is either one's totally possible.
Yeah, my sister she's really interested in film, and she loves like making videos and stuff. So and I love writing, so I was like, I'll write a thriller and then you can film it. So that's like our big project during quarantine.
Great.
So
I hope you do it. Possible.
Yeah. So is there a line from a movie or book that's had a big impact on you?
A line? No. In fact, with dialogue, I try not to listen. I can't really listen. I sort of, movies are kind of overwhelming sensory experiences for me. And I experience them usually without digesting dialogue, but more digesting the moments that are happening in front of me. I'll often know exactly what happened in the scene, but then turn to my wife and say, "What did she say?" And my wife was like, "What, dude? Come on, you're a director and a writer. How do you not know what she just said?" I was like, I was watching the movie. I couldn't hear her. So yeah. And I don't retain that kind of stuff. I'm very meticulous about my own words eventually. But even when I'm directing, I like to tell the actors that they shouldn't care about my words too much. That the words are just, vehicles for the beats, for the scenes, for the ideas. And I try to detach myself from words. But then again, I'm not a short story writer or a poet, and in those cases, words are much more important. There's lots of ways for me to tell you, to show you that I want to be on this interview or I don't want to be on this interview, right? And the words aren't that important. It's how you show something.
Yeah. Actually, there's this one line from Don't Let Go that has just, like, since I first saw it, it's just stuck with me. And now I'm forgetting his name. But the main character,
David Oyelowo, the actor, Jack Radcliffe, Detective Jack Radcliffe.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Played by Martin Luther, the guy that played Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Yeah, when he's talking to Storm Reed's character. I'm sorry, now I'm like blanking on all their.
No, it's okay. I forget sometimes too. Her name's Ashley in the movie.
Okay, thank you. When he's talking to Ashley and he says, "If you save me, I will save you," and I don't know, that line just really like stuck with me.
Yeah. You know, it was really hard to come to that line. We were, it wasn't in the script. I think when I first gave the script to David and to Storm, but we knew there had to be something that was said from her character when she's in the deepest jeopardy to his character when he is a whole new Jack from a whole new timeline who has no understanding of why she's in jeopardy, that would somehow deeply affect him. And in a lot of ways, my movies appear to be apolitical, I think, but for me, they're deeply political. And encoded in them are messages that I hope are transmitted, even if you just think of it as a big popcorn, you know, like scary or tense, you know. But we're living in a time where I feel that the leadership, especially from the top, is saying to us, don't care about your fellow man. You know, just make your real estate deals and get out of there. Just, you know, who cares about paying taxes to help the needy, to educate the poor, to, you know. And I think that all of that, let's steal, you know, you don't get Social Security, but we don't have to pay taxes. You know, it's like this whole like mentality of me first. And the movie's really about two people who are trying to help each other, and trying to save and need to save each other, because alone in the wild we'll get consumed by lions or bears, you know, and so we need each other, and Jack and Ashley need each other desperately in this movie. And so at some point, that idea of I'll save you, you save me weaseled its way into the script, and into that scene that you're remembering. And at the very end of the movie, she practically sings it to him. You know, I don't know if you remember that. She's like about to get killed by the bad guy, Michael T. And she sort of whispers it to him, and it's this magical moment that breaks through to him, and he knows what he has to do.
Yeah. So have you discovered any secret talents during quarantine?
My own secret talents? No. I mean, I've discovered that, you know, I think when we get bombed to oblivion, as you know, we sort of have in a lot of ways, and we're told, you know, you can't continue to function the way you functioned. That is a time where you grow, they can be scary times, but there's been a number of events like that in my life, from my parents getting divorced when I was 3, to my mom taking me out of state, to my dad, who happens to be gay. His partner, who was my other father for a long time, ended up getting AIDS. I had at one point a disease that crippled part of my right hand, and the doctors thought I had Lou Gehrig's disease, and I thought I might die at 19. But all these experiences of getting hurt, or getting told, or feeling like your world is falling apart, are opportunities to grow and explore yourself and to get strength, and to ask yourself, what is life for? What is life about? What do I want to do? And for me, this experience has kind of rejuvenated me. I mean, I hope I'm not going to lose my house, but it's rejuvenated me spiritually and emotionally, and it made me want to go and make this movie with my kids. And just make a movie that nobody else would make, and try to rid myself of all of the inner critics who have become part of my inner chorus, and have migrated into my head through outside influence over the years. I often tell people when they're criticizing my work, if you keep doing this, I'm going to hear you forever. You're going to be sitting right there with me at the computer telling me that it's too slow, that it can't be that slow, and then I'll never write a slow scene again, and that'll be a bummer. So I've kind of trying to let them go as I work, which is impossible. I still hear them.
So do you have a show that you're currently binge watching?
I binge watched Pamela Alden's show Better Things like nobody's business. I mean, I tore through it in I think it's 4 seasons long, and I tore through that in a week. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, it's wonderful. She is a single mother, divorced. She lives in Los Angeles, and she's a voice actress and an actress. And in fact, in her real life, that's what she was. She played Louis C.K.'s wife on the Louis C.K. show, and then she's made her own show, and it's about her and her relationship with her daughters, and it's very, very funny, and it's very, very touching. And she doesn't seem concerned about adhering to your genre expectations of comedy. She just does whatever she wants. It's a wonderful show. I think it's on Hulu, but I could be wrong. That was my last favorite best binge show. But my kids make me watch things like 90 Day Fiancé and stuff like that, which is just awful.
Yes, but that's what reality TV is there for, just to watch it and make fun of it. And
I guess, but it's I think it's I don't know what it's for. Sometimes I think it's good. I like The Masked Singer. The Masked Singer is really fun. I enjoy listening to music and trying to guess who it is, but some of these shows do feel like the audience has a sadistic relationship to watching the characters, but also there's a kind of masochism involved in it too, because I feel abused and punished by having to watch these people be horrible on screen sometimes. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, the only ones that we used to watch were The Voice and Project Runway. Yeah. We didn't watch any other ones, but we knew of other ones, and we were like, why is that even on TV? Why is it even a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could choose anyone to narrate your life, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Dave Chappelle, if you ever have a chance to narrate my life. I love David Chappelle. And there's a statement that I suggest everyone listen to who's interested in what's going on in the world right now with politics and with Black Lives Matter and all of this stuff, that's all this upheaval. He made a statement about his perceptions of what it must have been like to be George Floyd. And it's one of the most insightful, moving, beautiful things. I guess you would have to just Google David Chappelle talks about George Floyd, and it'll come up. I don't know what form of social media he released it on at this point. But I think I'd want somebody like him because he's funny, he's insightful, he tells the truth. Yeah.
Cool. So, if you could be any superhero, who would you be and why?
Oh my gosh. So I don't want to be a superhero. I mean, I think superheroes are a really big problem in our world. There are no superheroes. Superheroes, the idea that we're going to be saved by a superhero, I think, is a problem. Possibly even a problem that can lead to a kind of mental illness. Can get us to vote for a person who says, "I alone can save you." You know, and so I mean, there's a whole thing in the Bible about I don't know the Bible, but I know that there's a whole thing about false prophets and not worshiping certain kinds of statues. And I think our obsession with superheroes is just bad. But if I had to choose to be a superhero, I think I would be Superman. I grew up loving Superman. Maybe because I felt like he was a real outsider. And I'm talking about Christopher Reeve's Superman that was made in I guess it was the late 70s. You know, he lost his family, he lost his parents, he lost his home. He had to start over. He didn't know who he was discovering himself. And he realized in humility that it was important for him to do good work. And so I love that story.
Cool. Yeah, I never used to be into superheroes, but then Shazam came out, and that is my favorite movie ever. So I'm obsessed with Shazam, and then I love Captain Marvel.
I'll go watch Shazam for you. I didn't even know this existed. It's when did Shazam come out?
April 2019.
I'll tell you, in my cabinet in 1976, Burger King, when you would go in there and buy a drink, they would give you a glass, an actual glass, and I mean for a month, and they were promoting Shazam, and I have a Shazam glass with a lightning bolt and Shazam, flying through space or whatever he does.
Oh, cool.
And I kept that. I still have. But I don't know what does Shazam do? Who is he?
So basically he's a kid. He's 14 years old, I think. Yep. But then he gets the powers to, when he says Shazam, he turns into an adult superhero with all these powers, like super strength and super speed and just a bunch of things. So I liked the Spider-Man movies, but the Andrew Garfield ones, and then Tom Holland. And
what about Tobey Maguire?
I saw those like a long time ago, so I don't remember them.
Go back and watch them.
Okay.
They're made by a great filmmaker, and Toby's really great at it.
Okay. I'll watch those. Yeah, but then Shazam premiered and came out and I just became like completely obsessed with it. I have like Shazam everything. So
Interesting.
yeah, what is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest, can you give me an example of a pet peeve and then I'll tell you?
I don't know, just something that like bugs you that, I don't know, maybe it's when somebody says something or.
Like, what kind of pet peeve? Like with my children, with people in the world? Like, I need more focus than biggest pet peeve. I've got a lot of pet peeves.
Me too. But I actually never thought about that. So whatever you want.
No, like, I mean, you could just name a category. Like, are we talking about pet peeves in the kitchen with the kitchen sink? Or
what
are we
about
talking
something
about
that your kids do?
What's that?
What about something that your kids do?
Something that my kids do
that drives you crazy.
Okay. I really don't like when my son puts on his earphones and gets on his iPad and starts to play Fortnite, and he doesn't stop playing Fortnite for hours, and then when you try to get him to stop to go on a bike ride or something, he acts like you're a crazy person and tells you to go away.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because everything should be in balance, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand Fortnite.
Me neither. I don't even try to understand it. But I know he's interested in it, so once in a while I'll act interested in it, and then he'll talk about it for like 12 minutes straight in a monologue, and I just like turn the volume down in my head and don't listen. But he has a good time telling me about it.
Cool. So if you could have any song playing to announce your entrance into a room, what song would it be?
Well, my wife is a singer, so it would probably be something by my wife. And her new record that's going to come out soon is super beautiful, so I would probably pick a song from her new record. But I'm not sure which one, and I'm not sure what the record's called, so I can't even tell you about it.
And what is her name if we were looking for her music?
So her name is Gretchen Lieberum, not Lieberman, but Lieberum, Lieberum. And you'll find her on the internet because she is in a Prince cover band called Princess with her best friend from way back in college, Maya Rudolph.
Oh, cool.
And while Prince was still very much alive, they decided to form this cover band, a tribute band to Prince. And they had a long history of playing music together. In college, they had a funk band together called Super Sauce. You could actually go on to YouTube, type in Super Sauce, Maya Rudolph, and music video, and find a music video that I made of Gretchen and Maya doing a song called Milkshake. That was filmed in probably 1993 in Santa Cruz, where I went to college, UC Santa Cruz. And then Maya went on to go and do Saturday Night Live. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, they decided to get serious about this idea of Princess. And they started playing. And Prince sent spies to their show to see if they were any good. And he liked them. And he ended up inviting them to his concerts, and they sat on a purple couch right side stage and watched him play music, and gave them hugs and told them that he watches them play their song. They played a song called Darling Nikki on Jimmy Fallon, and he says he told them that he keeps it on his DVR and that he shows his friends. And when he died, they ended up going to his funeral, his family funeral. And so that's one of my wife's musical outlets, and the other is her own music. And to date, her favorite record that she's made is called Siren Songs. But I think her new record, which will be released, will be some of her best work. So in the background right now, I'm listening to her listen to the new mixes.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I like my wife, and I'm promoting my wife. She can. What was it? My entrance or my funeral? Where was this song being played? I forgot.
Playing to announce your entrance into a room.
What room? Like
any
a
room.
Big, a symphony hall, like. Okay.
Okay, you're asking all these questions that I never thought of. I never thought of specific rooms or.
This is a conversation, not an interview, right? We're on Zoom. Is it a big red room with like gold trim? Like, what does it look like?
Sure. Let's put a red carpet in the room.
Oh.
Like a movie premiere.
Yeah.
Am I wearing like a green suede suit?
Yes, if you want.
Okay. That sounds good. It sounds good.
Yeah,
A green suede suit with a Shazam lightning bolt on my chest. That's
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I actually I was doing virtual camp last week, and we were doing our just making things with paper, cutting out shapes and all that. And so I made the Shazam lightning bolt that I don't think is any good, but I was like, I'm gonna try this and we'll just see how it turns out. But I'm not an artist, so I don't think it's any good. But so my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Well, I think the real life superheroes are the people that have, for one reason or another, committed themselves to the cause of social justice or public health or some cause to do with concern for others. And so those people also exist in the arts, I believe. People that are deeply committed to trying to tell the truth or illuminate something that no one talks about. A friend of mine has made a bunch of really good movies, including the movie Moonlight, and I felt like a movie like that needed to be made for everybody's benefit. But the people that teach children at public schools, who do their best, or the people who during a crisis like the AIDS crisis fought to try to give medical care to people who were being shunned, and that person, a person like that happens to be my father, did that. So those types of people are people that do things that are extraordinary, that they can do, that are within their reach. Those are superheroes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I had so much fun talking to you.
Oh, me too. I had a lot of fun. Thanks, Maya.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us here at Children's Hospital Colorado in the Seacrest Studios. And we look forward to being updated by Maya on all the cool things and cool projects that you're working on.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.